Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shameless or Conversations with Coaches on Shameless Exploration. Today, I'm here with Gina Garris, and Ephraim, and we're doing. I don't actually know the topic of today, but we're just like in bed with Gigi and E, and we're gonna see what happens. We're gonna just get. I'm gonna ask some vulnerable questions and you guys can answer or tell me that it's gone too far.
Great. Feels
And
fun.
we'll just see what happens, what we're here to play with, and have some fun. So actually, Ephraim was just on. He's been on a couple of times, but he was just on a couple of weeks ago, reading some of his poems from his book, "Make Love with This." Right?
Making love with this,
Making
yes.
Love with This, and it was 2 weeks ago. So if you missed that and you want to hear some of his great poems from his book, go ahead and find it on the page. And Gina was on before when we talked about sexual health. And actually, they are a couple, and they're both erotic blueprint coaches. And so I'm just curious. Like, I started exploring the blueprints as a couple. I was a part of a couple. And so I know what it's like to be with a partner who's awake to also like discovering their eroticism and their sexuality and looking at these deeper parts of ourselves that often go ignored. And so we're just going to talk about those kinds of things and what it's like having a partner who explores with you. And also just like in the coaching world in general or your own personal development, what it's like when you have the support system in place.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys would like to say about yourselves before we get started?
Oh my goodness, let's just dive in.
I know. Like, no, we're in bed. We're ready. Let's go. Come on.
All right. Great. Would either of you like to lead us into pleasure first?
Ephraim would.
You have just been voluntold.
I know.
Perfect. All right. Everyone close your eyes.
Unless you're driving. Don't
Unless
close your
you're driving.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're driving, stop, pull over, close your eyes.
Yeah.
Since we're in bed, let's imagine that we are always in bed. And breathe and feel the softness beneath you.
It's the perfect bed. Right?
It is the perfect
like the
bed.
dreamiest bed that you could ever imagine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And it turns out that this bed is actually the entire planet. And you are the forests and the mountains. You are the desert. You are the lakes and streams and oceans. And you allow yourself to feel your whole body lying back and being all of these wonderful landscapes. And as you lie there, the day spins on. It's warm, and then it starts to get cool as the evening comes. And so, of course, you need a blanket. And for you, this blanket is the sky. It's full of purples and pinks and blues. The clouds are softer little parts of the blanket. And as you pull it over you slowly, it becomes the stars and the moon. It's surprisingly warm, perfectly warm. And just feel as you pull the blanket over you of the sky, yourself fully enfolded, lying on this earth in all of its beauty, beneath the sky in all of its beauty. This is the bed that we lie in always. Breathe, and when you're ready, open your eyes.
Yummy. Thank you.
Yay!
Yay.
Yay!
So that gave me an idea of what I want to start with.
Great.
I just had an experience where I was staying with a friend, and she was like, I can't believe that's your bedding, kind of like. What? So how do you guys make your bed the most comfortable bed?
Yeah, great question. The first thing is we buy nice mattresses, so high quality mattresses. And then Ephraim tends to be.
There's a $30,000 mattress that's made for like kings and queens, which we do not have, but I would love it.
Yet.
Yay! I thought I was crazy with my $7,000 mattress.
Yeah. Ephraim tends to be more finicky around sheets than I do because I'd never spent really good money on sheets until this one. So we have nice sheets. I'm a pillow junkie, so
What's your favorite fabric? Because mine is bamboo. I think it's the absolute greatest.
Well, mine is flannel because I like flannel sheets, but I'm not allowed to have them anymore because he gets hot. So he's my hot pack, and yeah.
Right now we're in high count cotton, but
Yes.
I love maybe it is bamboo. Actually, it's not. I haven't tried bamboo yet, but I think it's birch.
Haven't tried that. But
Yeah.
all of mine are this bamboo. And then I learned that there's like one brand that's the best. It's like so smooth and soft and cold. Like I am a hot sleeper, so it keeps you cool. And it's cool and like it doesn't snag anything. It's Aloha brand. It's amazing.
You'll have to put the link below so we can order some.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, great. I find them at Costco.
Oh, good to know.
They put up special stands a couple times a year, and I always go buy new ones.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's so fun.
What kind of pillows?
We have all kinds of pillows. So like we have the super soft ones that we can kind of wiggle around on. And then Gina sleeps like she likes a flat feather pillow. So we have feather pillows. And then we have stacks of pillows for just like so we can sit up and
just like tons of these. And then I think I took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pillows off the bed so we could get back into bed for the interview. And then like there's a pillow here in case, I didn't want my breasts to be exposed.
Yes.
Yeah, so just lots of pillows. And we also have like fluid, I call them like just little squishy stations throughout the house, little like cuddle stations. And so Ephraim loves to, anytime there's soft pillows that are in our colors, of course, they come home with them. And so we have voluminous amounts of soft, sensual delights throughout the house for cuddles. And so our bed kind of becomes this like a fluid altar of pillows, and you just never know what we're coming up with. Yeah,
the reason I'm making this a thing is because like it's actually a super sensual way to be with your body and your sleep and just your day if your stuff is fluffy and soft or comfortable or whatever, but also for health. For me, it's so important for me to have, like I have a bad back from a motorcycle accident. So it's so important for me to have a comfortable mattress to sleep on. And I didn't understand that until I had a bad back. So um, I've learned, like, I have every pillow. I experiment, like, oh, this is a new kind. Let me see how that is. Does it work between my legs? Is it for my head and my neck? You know, like, where does this work in my life?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And we've had grounding sheets, or I've had grounding sheets before, or not grounding sheets. We're not using them right now. I like to be warm, so I will sleep with an electric blanket. I'll turn it on before I get into bed, and then it goes off.
And then I stay away from that.
Right. Yeah. So we have the fun. I'm freezing all the time, and this one is a hot pack, so it works well for me.
that's good cuddles, though, right?
Total good cuddles. Total good cuddles. Yeah. That's a fun question. Thanks for, no one's ever really asked us what kind of bedding.
Yeah, I have a U-shaped pillow, you know, like the ones that you get or women get when they're pregnant.
Yeah.
I sleep with that. It's like sleeping in a hug.
Mm.
So I don't like to sleep with it when anybody else is in the bed, but when I'm by myself, it's like this, it's nice hug, and like with the bamboo sheets and my weighted blanket on top of me.
Oh yeah, we got weighted blankets. Yep.
Yeah, so that totally feeds my energetic side, like this safety cocoon. It's just like I'm in this heavy closed-in spot. It's so cozy.
That's
So
so
a
fun.
blanket. Let me
The
just
name, the
yeah, go
name
ahead.
of our guest room is the Cocoon, so that's really fun.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So this bed is the centerpiece.
Yeah.
So it's like there's all like the softness here, and then like we play with how to extend that out into the room. So like we have, you know, electric candles that come on and just all over the place. So it's like this candle-filled room. We have a round shelf that just, it's all just softness and
Magic.
magic. Yes.
Yes, I want to come see your magical room.
Yes.
Yeah, I normally don't let people into my room, so this is kind of a big deal to have.
Is this one your room, or is this your guest room?
No, this is our room.
Thank you for the invite.
Yes.
Yeah, for now. Yeah. I mean, that might change because of In Bed with Gigi and we'll see.
Yeah, what is In Bed with Gigi&E? What are we doing?
Yeah. It's this new thing we're just doing. So many people are like, what is it like to what is life like with two sex coaches? You know, like, what is it? And I was like, I don't know, you know, we get up and we make green smoothies and do some calls, and like, I don't think it's any different, but people are so intrigued with this idea of like, what is it when you have two sex coaches that
Yeah, and it must be like explosive sex all the time, all
all
day.
the time.
Oh yeah. Of course it is.
Oh yeah, and orgies and like, oh yeah, all the stuff.
It's kind of more like, you know this. Why are you doing it wrong?
Yeah. Don't touch me. I had to do that all day. That's pretty much what it is.
Right.
No, I mean, we are real people, right? In real relationship. And so we have lots of friction. Like, we are spicy. We have as much lows as we do highs. And that's part of our relationship. I'm very dramatic. And so with drama comes fun drama.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
You a lover of the drama?
Well, I am a lover of the drama, and I'm trying to just really be like, I'm just having so much awareness of, I never knew I really liked the drama. So now I'm like, whoa, I really love it. Like, fires me up. Yeah.
I mean, what really happens is, as coaches, we're constantly working on ourselves.
Yeah.
So what that brings up is fucking everything.
Right.
So all the sex problems and all the evolution problems and all the relationship problems and all the problems.
All the problems of the world somehow become yours, right?
Yes.
They come to bed with us.
Imagine that right here in bed.
Right. Crazy.
So, you know, we have the nights where it's just like,
Popcorn and a movie.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yep.
Popcorn and a movie.
Exactly.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, there's this misconception, right, that everything is hunky-dory in a
Yep.
coach's world, or
Yep.
if we know about sexuality, we must know every caveat and have the greatest sex life. Where
Yep.
actually we're all just also learning
Yep.
ourselves way more deeply.
Yep.
And then when you introduce a partner into it, we have to know all their stuff really deeply too.
I think that we're both such deep believers of sexual healing. And so I feel like from the beginning of our relationship, we called in each other actually to heal our traumas and our just the parts of us. And so that really is what we just continually do. And like the deeper our relationship goes, it's almost like, whoa, I didn't even know that was inside. Like, okay, let's fucking deal with that right now. And then, there's like a new evolution. And so to me, the path of sexuality is like the coolest path of self-development because it's infinite. There's
Yes, and you get orgasms along the way.
right. That's right. Yeah.
That's a great thing to bring up because it's not just like that's a real thing. We call in the people into our lives,
Mm-hmm.
and they're there to teach us a lesson. They're there to like learn and grow with, or see something that we don't like that we'd like to change within ourselves. We all call it in, and just knowing that can change the way that we view every relationship, right? Like, this person is actually here for a reason, even though I want to kill them.
Right. It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Our souls have a different agenda than our conscious mind.
Yes.
Very,
I
very
thought I just wanted to have great sex with this person.
Right.
And actually, I'm just talking about my childhood all the time.
Right. Right. Why are you just like my dad? Stop being mean to me. It's so true. It's so true. Yeah.
It's funny. Some of the work that I do is to help people find their archetypes. And everybody has 12, right? I help them find their core 12. But when you go out and you're dating, it's really like one or two of your archetypes dating one or two of their favorite archetypes. When you move in together, it's all 12 coming to hang out. It's like, ooh, who are you? Where did this happen? Rah! That's soul contract right there.
Right. So it's like 24 people living together.
Minimum.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's so true. There's just all these different sides of us, right?
Yep.
And typically when we start a relationship, it's like, you're getting my favorite part of me. Here you go.
Yep.
That I want to show you.
Yep.
And then, maybe 6 months down the line, when you can't pretend that one is the only one anymore, all the things come out.
It's true. It's true.
And the interesting thing is, it's like, I don't think that a lot of people are doing that consciously necessarily. Right. Like, oh, here's my favorite part of me. It's just, that's the part that shows up. Mm-hmm. And that's like our soul's way of tricking us into this whole thing called
right.
relationship.
Right.
Where the real work happens.
Yeah. I always say relationship's the deepest spiritual work that you can do. Like it's the space for growth. It's the space for truth. And I feel like the thing that Ephraim and I do together really, really well is, I guess, help people remember the core of who they are. I feel like we both have our own like different tools that's actually what we naturally do, is help people like kind of do some excavation and some like, who am I? Yeah. And so when we come together, there's a magic. Like, we've been doing these really amazing and incredible sacred immersions where humans will come be with us either overnight or for a couple of nights. And these experiences have been really profound in just helping people remember who they are at the core. Mm-hmm. And that's, I think, what relationship is to help remind each other of who we are, and sometimes it looks like, poking each other
for days.
Or years.
Or years. I know.
Yeah.
I was gonna say or years. Yeah.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. So do you guys work together with clients?
Yeah, we do. It's really fun. We both do our own thing, and often we find ourselves in each other's, like, hey, can you hop on and do this session with me? Or we both started just doing little immersion work, and it's like, oh, hey, can you pop in over here, and can you pop in here? And so we started just being like, oh, well, what would happen if we just did a full, like, that's our thing. So In Bed with Gigi and E often is like, oh, let's just do an immersion. And so you get to come be with us for 6 hours or 24 hours or 48 hours. And then we have all these bags of tricks that we get to pull from. So
yeah, that's nice to have like a couple of multiple hands
totally
in the basket.
Yeah, well, or multiple hands, on the body. Like, we're both massage therapists also. So there's a space that that can be really beautiful and amazing also, in just the discovery of, I don't know, feeling what it feels like to just be loved.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of humans out there that don't get touched on a regular basis. And so even just like having two people to come cuddle with randomly feels really, it has been really, really beautiful to witness the depth of, I guess, unfolding of someone like that feels like is what I see in our sacred immersions. What do you see happens?
That, and it's a place to relax, like really, really, really deeply, and like let the layers sort of shed away. Like, one of the visions I had also of like pulling that blanket of the sky up over was that in that pulling, it's like the sky becomes you and it meets the earth, and everything that isn't really you, which is all the drama or all the anger or all of these things that aren't you, they just sort of squeeze out. It's like poof, into space. And what's left is just being in this space. And so these sacred immersions, to a degree, are like, how much can we be here in this space? And then see ourselves.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Of course, and then we have sensual feasting with Ephraim, and right, so this lovely, delicious food prepared by this beautiful being.
Occasionally there
You used to critique foods, so foods.
Yes, one of my favorite stories is about my first orgasmic experience with food at a table with 8 people. Yes.
Fun. Tell it.
So I'm sitting there, and of course everyone is eating, and what I have is what turns out to be one of the most perfect bites of short rib that I'd ever tasted.
Is that like just a rib?
It's different. It's like
I hear you tell a story all the time, and I just want to know, what is a short rib?
Short rib.
Very quick.
It's usually beef. It's very juicy and tender. It's been like cooking for a long time. A lot of times when people talk about ribs, it's like pork ribs. But a short rib is like usually a beef rib, slow roasted for a long time. Okay,
cool. Anyway, so you orgasmed at the table when you ate it?
So I put it in my mouth, and it's like it fills me. It's like this explosion of flavor and tenderness and juiciness, and it kind of washes down my body, and I feel the energetic orgasm just kind of fill me, and I'm like, I'm not going to do this in an obvious way. So it's like rolling through me, and I'm looking around like, is anyone seeing this? It doesn't look like it. Whew.
Was that a long time ago? Because that's how you eat.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, okay.
So actually at that time in my life, I was working on being more multiply orgasmic, and I was becoming more and more orgasmic with the world around me. And in that moment, that was the first time I really had an orgasm with food. That was like, put my hand on the table and make sure no one saw that moment.
So can you explain, since we're in that space, people who like haven't experienced multi-orgasmic or don't even know that concept, like what you orgasmed with food, so that means you blew your load at the table?
Thank you for that question. No, it was not that. So for men, orgasm and ejaculation are completely separate. We just don't know that. Most men don't know that. And so all humans can have this orgasmic experience with almost anything in life. And that is these waves, in my mind, these waves of pleasure and ecstasy that can roll through you.
Mm.
And that can happen with a breath. It can happen with the way that you move. It can happen, I don't know, while you're playing soccer somewhere, or, paddleboarding, or whatever it might be. It's just this immense pleasure that fills you. And then there's so many different kinds of orgasms. So in that moment, it was an energetic orgasm, which probably would look like, if I would have let it go, these waves of bliss with maybe a moan and yes. So
And so those can show up in like all kinds of different ways too. It could be that breath and the moan. It could be somebody's shake, right?
Yes.
Or maybe people have experienced the one where you just get like so happy that tears just start flowing. And
Teargasms, I love that.
So excited and happy and ecstatic, and then like you're just flowing with tears. That's also.
There's also some people get really still, but there's like a buzzing inside that's just like your skin is electric. Now it doesn't hurt electric, but it's just like a stillness with this like depth of like zzz on like zzz, buzzy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's so many ways to experience an energetic orgasm.
For me, like one of the things that helped me to really start to experience it was to allow myself to take it into my full body and to call the strange things that were happening to me orgasm. It was like, because this doesn't feel like I'm ejaculating, but it definitely feels like pleasure. So what's happening? Oh, that's an orgasm. That's what they're talking about. And once you allow yourself to experience all the ways, then more ways come, because it turns out it's infinite.
Yes.
I think that's such a huge thing too. So much of what we do with our clients is rewire or give a new definition to what pleasure is. So many people think pleasure is and always is sexual. And even when you say orgasmic, like that could be like, oh, I can't do that with food, but it's really like, have you ever just enjoyed a bite of food so much that you're just like, wow, that was so good. Like that's bringing pleasure. And I feel like that's something that is a constant it must be a constant for me, a reminder, because it's a constant in the humans that I work with, that they're just like, oh, that wasn't an orgasm, but I really, really, really loved it. It felt good. So it's like this rewiring to pleasure, and pleasure being all the things that bring you ease, feel good, feel comfortable, are moving energy within you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love to redefine pleasure, because it's not just like when we say, oh, I'm a pleasure coach. Like, what? That's even scary for people to hear, but it doesn't have to be. Like, one of my greatest pleasures is watching my daughter ride horses. It's
Right.
amazing the communication that she just has by sitting on a horse.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually talk to each other, and it's so fun to watch. And
Yeah.
I say, like, that's one of my greatest pleasures, and people are like, yes, you can have pleasure in every area of life.
Yeah, part of our pleasure practice that we're doing together right now is a painting practice. So we get up in the morning and we do a sacred painting practice together, and not on each other and not on our bodies and not with like body paint or chocolate edible sex paint, like on our own canvases.
Not that that wouldn't be fun.
Right.
Hmm.
And like that's just a thing. Like we have a pleasure practice, and we chose to do pleasure practice together in this 21-30 day thing that we're doing. And it's painting. We're not fucking, and we're not, you know, touching ourselves or getting each other off. And it's bringing us immense amounts of connection and pleasure.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I love that we got to speak to that, because it's so broad, and when we make it narrow, it really limits what we can experience in our life in sexuality and outside of it, because we're like, this is what pleasure is. Like,
I think that sex in general, I mean, I feel like, Holly, you probably agree with this, but what we do is just expand people's mind that it's not this one thing that we were taught either to not to have, basically.
yes.
You know, we're taught not to have this one thing, and no one ever really teaches us about the joy and the pleasure and the process of the journey of it.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah,
that to me is
absolutely.
such a joy.
Great. Thank you. Thank you.
That also makes me want to talk about Netflix,
Okay.
Random.
because we find so much pleasure in that moment of just sitting down and watching something together and eating popcorn.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people take that as, oh my gosh, this is such a waste of time. I'm wasting all my time on TV and blah, blah, blah. And yes, there can be maybe excess there, but it's also really, truly, you're sitting there, you're in each other's energies. Maybe you're not even touching. Maybe you're just holding hands a little bit or whatever it is, but it allows like so much to happen, and it's so pleasurable. And it can be that moment that calms you down of like, oh my gosh, we were just triggered like a half an hour ago. We sit down and it takes the focus, sure, to a story, but it takes the focus away from the story that you're stuck in that isn't serving you anyway.
Yeah.
And so I really sometimes see that as a tool and a way to bring pleasure to a couple, even though so much of the world is like, why are you wasting all of your time watching TV? And it's like, actually, we're fucking connecting here. Even if we're not gazing into each other's eyes or whatever it is, it's like, this is a place where we can connect and relax and be together. And wow, it can be beautiful.
Yeah, we've been playing a lot with this concept of erotic resonance. We're thinking of maybe doing more like a little course or something. But what we're really noticing within ourselves is this idea where we had this story in our head that like we're not connected. Like, oh, I said that a lot. I just want to be connected to you more. Like, I need more presence from you. I want to feel connected.
As if I'm not present.
Right. and really the truth is we're so fucking connected. Like, we're connected all the time, but I wasn't speaking the desire. Like, what I was saying on the top level is I don't feel connected to you, then the next level is like, I want you to be present with me. And that actually wasn't true. And so this idea of like, what is erotic resonance and what vibration are you playing at, right? Like, I like to cause drama. So Ephraim will like pay attention to me. So we'll like get into some friction. But what I really wanted was I wanted something more from him that I don't have language for. So anyway, in our Netflix adventures and adventuring of like, okay, fine, we're in friction, let's go watch a fucking movie. What we're just realizing, like, what that does to our nervous systems is it calms us down and it gets us back into like this place where we actually could talk to each other. Does that make sense?
It does. It does actually. And it's funny because my daughter just had an assignment at school that was like to pick a place and explain like what it is there for and what people do when they go there. And she was talking about, she's like, well, I could do a movie theater because that's where people go to escape their reality for a little bit and then come back.
Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And here's what's funny. Well, we're playing with this whole fun idea that our whole life, our reality is a movie, right? And so if we're just little characters in our movie, going to a movie theater actually teaches you so much around, wow, how come we can look at that movie and just be like, oh, what a cool movie. Oh, he died. Oh, they broke up. Oh, they're going to fight. Oh, they're not having sex, and like not have attachment to it. And then this idea of like, well, wait, how come we're so like invested in our movie?
Right. And if you just step out for a minute and be like, this is okay, I can see these characters, which is me, right? I can see these characters and maybe me and my daughter, and we're arguing about this thing. Well, what came before that I just saw happen? And then we can start to unravel that story and then just have acceptance for it, right?
Totally. Yeah.
That's fun.
It's so fun.
And we can even start to
say that what you're saying about Netflix and the judgments that people have about it, that actually is from our, like, in the coaching or the more conscious world or whatever, people who are doing work in the world to improve themselves. That's a judgment that we have about Netflix, but the rest of the people don't.
Right. Right. It's our own judgment, right?
Totally.
That's hilarious. That's so funny. Thank you. Thank you. That's great.
Because I had it. I didn't let my daughter watch TV really until she was 8. Like, I was a Waldorf mom. I kept her away from TV media as best I could. So I was like so high and mighty. Like, TV is bad. She needs to learn to be her own person. She's like, this is going to warp her brain. I still think that. But I'm not like totally uptight about it. But that's, we have these different ideas about the way that the world functions. And if I were to say like that to my sister or like one of my sisters that they judge Netflix, they're like, what? No, that's just what we do. Or like,
right. Exactly.
So I just wanted to say that that's funny.
That is funny.
The way that we view things in our world, right?
Yeah, we're always looking through the world through our lens, right? Through our lens of what we know, and yeah, it's so true. So true. Well, thank you. This has been fun.
Yeah, it has. I have one question that popped up while we were talking about In Bed with Gigi and E.
Yeah.
Is this a thing that you're going to be so what I can hear in my head is like, do those people actually get in bed with their clients? So I just want to clean that up and see, or maybe it's a possibility, like what
what does that mean, in bed with us? You're in bed with us right now.
Yeah. Me, my nice cozy sitting up bed.
That's right. It's a great question. I mean, we have so many tools in our tool bag. I think that so we started a little group, In Bed with Gigi and E, and it's really just what is life like with two sex coaches. And to be in bed with us is, if you're going to work with us, we call it In Bed with Us, and no, we don't sleep with our clients. And do we?
No.
I mean, that's hard, Holly, because we believe that everything is sex. Like we make love with our life, right? Like
Right. Well, they say there's a saying, right? Don't get in bed with that person, right? But that just means like a money deal. Or
yeah.
so
No, get
if
in bed with
you
us.
take it,
We'll take your money.
yeah, literally, right?
Yes, we're
In
whores. We
every
get paid.
interaction we have, we're in bed together.
Yeah, no, I love what you're saying, and it's really interesting because I say come play with me a lot. Like I have a website, come play with Gina, right? Like there's a space for some people who don't understand that because they actually are like, oh, are we gonna have sex? And on the high level, I'm like, yes, because everything is sex. And on a low level, like, are you going to, am I going to be physically intimate with you?
Right. There's a difference between sex and copulation.
Yeah. And I mean, even in that, I mean, yeah, let's just say no.
The reality is, in bed is so intimate
Yeah.
and so trusting. I mean, it's like this is the place where so much intimacy happens.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about like sexual intimacy and
Mm-hmm.
loving intimacy. This is the place where fights happen.
Farts happen.
Yes, exactly.
Snoring happens.
All these things happen. And then there's so much trust
Mm-hmm.
because you're sleeping next to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And that is the most vulnerable.
Yes.
Totally. Yeah.
So
Dreams.
there you are, allowing yourself to be in dreamland, physically helpless,
Mm-hmm.
to truly surrender
Mm-hmm.
to the idea that all of this is making love.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
And that's the kinds of relationships that we create with the humans that want to or feel called or resonate with us. Like it's deep, sacred, intimate relationships. And they
Yeah.
all look different because everyone is craving and desiring something different and resonates differently with us in what it is that we do. So it's a great
So
question.
true. Yeah, it is so true. Like when we work with people,
Mhm.
having a conversation about that they haven't had sex in their marriage in 5 years, or they've never experienced an orgasm and they're 65. That is in
Mhm.
the bedroom, that is in the bed, that is so intimate. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So good. I love it. I just heard that question pop up in my head and I'm like, let's make it clear.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
The answer is no or
And
yes or
yep.
yeah. Yeah. This was so fun.
Yes. Thank you guys for joining me again and sharing your intimate space with us. And yeah, that was fun. Is there anything that you'd like to leave everybody with before we go?
I think below we're going to pop the link to our newly formed In Bed with Gigi group. So if you want to see what life is like with two sex coaches, feel free to hop on there with us. Hop in bed with us.
We'll be doing lots of cool things in there, like maybe some story time, maybe some sensual feasts, maybe, who knows?
And of course you can follow us on all the different places also. Like we're here. And so, yeah.
And everyone curl up with that blanket of the sky.
Yeah. I was so glad you brought in the stars because I was like, I just want to get to the stars. I just want the stars to come out. Yeah. And if you feel like this is like, wow, I want to know these humans, then just reach out to us because we would love to know you too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Of course, everybody, you can find me in the Shameless Explorations group and Holly at shamelessexplorations.com, or just message me on Facebook. If I still have Facebook. I'm exploring. If I would.
I was wondering.
Yeah. I used to actually not use Facebook for anything. And then I had to join it because of all these groups and all these things that I was joining. And I this year experimented with what that looks like. So there's like all these different ways to connect, and I like to experiment with them. And I may experiment again with what it looks like to not be connected on Facebook or social media. So we'll see. But for now, find me on Shameless Explorations. And yeah, that's an interesting thing to talk about. So if anybody's interested, let's talk more about that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yay. Thank you guys so much. And I'll see you the next time we play.
Yes, thank you, Holly.
Bye.